Hi, welcome to my interview about a Canadian woman. Here I have my friend Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
Hi Tava, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, could you start with giving us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
My name is Zoe Morris. I'm 23 and I was born in Port Dover, Ontario.
That's great. So, how do I know you?
You know me because we are in the same program, Broadcast TV, and we met last January.
Yep. Okay. How long have I known you?
Was that 7 months then?
Yeah, about half a year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you lived in Canada your whole life, or have you moved here from somewhere? Were you born somewhere else and then you moved here, or what? What is your relationship with Canada? Have you always been here? Have you moved here?
I've always been here. I was born on my grandma's house actually in St. Thomas. And then we moved to Walsingham, Ontario, which is it's on Lake Erie, so west of here. And then I moved to Stratford, Ontario, and then I moved to Port Dover, Ontario. And then I moved to Toronto.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like Stratford.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
wanting
nice.
to go there.
It's really nice.
What does women in Canada mean to you?
That's such a hard question. Women in Canada means to me, well, first and foremost, I think of the Indigenous women in Canada because to me, they're the true Canadians. And yeah, that's the first thing that I think of. And then I sort of started thinking about all the diversity that we have here and all the different kinds of women there are and trans women and stuff like that. And it's a very diverse country, and I think that's really nice, especially coming out of the rural places where I grew up, moving to Toronto and coming to school here. It's very, very diverse and awesome.
You said that you think women in Canada originally, or to you, the first thing that you think of is Indigenous women because you said they are the original
True Canadians. I guess.
So would you say that you are not a true Canadian then?
I mean, it kind of what is a Canadian then at that point? When it's a place that has so much history of kind of being like my ancestors would have been, I wanted to say the word forced onto the land, but we forced ourselves onto this land. So you know what I mean? I don't think that ownership and identity is therefore granted to you because you took something like that. I don't know if that makes total sense, but I feel a little bit weird about the lines in the sand when it comes to...
Right.
Yeah.
But when did you start learning about women in Canada? Was it in school?
In
or
school,
was it something
I
you
mean,
took
I
up
guess
later?
it's something that is just like a part of your life right from when you're born. As a woman, when you're born, you start noticing other women because you're like me. How am I supposed to be? And so I guess your mom is the first one that you're looking at, trying to figure out what to do. But then in school, yeah, more talking history-wise, that would be.
So did they teach you? So you were in high school in the early 2000s, early to late 2000s,
like 2010s.
2010s. Yeah, which is same as me.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, I mean we were in school in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Which was when discrimination against Indigenous women was still happening, though.
Of course.
So did you learn at the same time? Did you learn about them in school, or was it something you learned out of school? You spoke to other people, or it's just something you sort of understood as you grew up?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember my history classes from school. I remember learning about, Christopher Columbus and the first settlers of North America. I also remember learning about the different tribes of Indigenous, like Métis and I have a bad memory, so I can't remember the other ones. Anishinaabe, yeah. And yes, so it was there, but it was definitely told through a white lens. So it was, we're telling you their story again. What else was I gonna say about that? Yeah, definitely whitewashed version of everything that happened.
But when did you realize it was whitewashed?
Yeah, when I started, I actually have a very visceral memory of watching the movie Indian Horse. And I just, I don't know how I came across it or where I heard it from, but I was working and I watched that movie at my job one day. And I was like, oh my God, it's awful. It's really bad because that movie, it's set during the time when the residential schools were active, but I think if I'm remembering right, it kind of flip-flops between two stories, like the story of this guy's grandfather who was in the residential schools and the story of him who's now dealing with the after trauma and effects of the residential schools. So his story, the grandson, kind of like I could see it around me. Like I grew up in a small town and there's a Six Nations reserve kind of pretty close to where I grew up. And so the one interaction that I had with the Six Nations reserve as a kid was when they would come play hockey at the hockey rink against our Cordover team. And I remember that parents in the crowd, all the kids, there was a lot of racism even then in 2013 or whatever. Yeah.
It's now.
Yeah, now. It's now. And so they showed the similar thing in the movie, and I was like, yeah, shit, I've seen that. It's real, and the discrimination and ideas. And it's just that movie did such a good job of being look how fucked up it is, how you're still taunting these people that you've literally destroyed. And it was just God damn it, evil. That's my first memory of kind of waking up to it, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. What does being a woman in Canada mean to you now? Is it strictly geographical? Is there a difference in culture to anywhere else that you have traveled in your lifetime? And do you enjoy being a woman in Canada?
Yeah, it's a hard question because all of those things I don't associate with, I don't feel affected by being Canadian very much. I think there's completely influenced by the United States and Britain and Europe and stuff like that. I think that Canada doesn't hold its own identity very well. Even it's obvious if you go, what's a Canadian? Then people will say nice. They will say maple syrup, poutine, polar bears, igloos. But that's kind of it, and that's really that's kind of nothing. That's kind of I guess you could say we're a very individualist society, but a lot of the West is. But relating it back to being a woman, I just feel like anything I could say about being a woman would just be about being a woman and not about being a woman in Canada. If that makes sense? Yeah, it doesn't feel very affected. I mean, I guess we play a part in the whole culture of the West. I'm sure we do, but it doesn't feel that singular or Canadian woman. It's different because
from what I've read, indigenous societies or indigenous tribes are matriarchal. So the crux of the society before Canada was colonized was by women, basically. They were the ones who were taking decisions, they were at the forefront. It was not patriarchal as we know society at large in the rest of the world, which other cultures also are matriarchal. A few other cultures are also matriarchal. So in that way, when Canada was colonized, obviously they tried very hard and are still trying really hard to make it completely patriarchal. They had a lot of laws that they put in to get rid of the matriarchal power or authority that women had in indigenous tribes, which again were very discriminatory. So in that sense, what does it mean to be a woman in Canada? And also, to extend it, coming from the culture that I come from, I'm an Indian and I'm also a Muslim, and I grew up in the Middle East, which is a Muslim dominated area. So in our cultures, being a woman just means more hard work, because to prove myself I have to go like 2 steps more, like I have to try harder and I have to walk 2 steps further than what a man would do to prove myself. So is that something that you see as a woman here, or is there, and you would have traveled to other countries other than Canada, so have you seen any difference in how you grew up or you are here than where it was elsewhere?
Yeah, that's another really big question. I think, yes, definitely the patriarchy affects me. Absolutely, of course it does. That just doesn't feel like a Canada thing. I mean, that's everywhere, no, in the West at the very least.
So do you enjoy being a woman here?
It's okay. I'm sure it's better than a lot of other places. Yeah. I don't feel very connected to being a woman, actually. Like, I don't feel like the gender role or the gender norms that are associated with being a woman are that huge in my life. I'm not a mother. I don't plan to be a mother. I don't feel very nurturing or anything like that. So, I don't know. I guess I don't think about it enough. Maybe I should think about feminism or read a book or something.
Okay. Can you share a childhood memory with me?
Is any childhood memory?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great one for you. It's Canada Day in like 2003 or something like that, and I was at Pinafore Park in St. Thomas with my grandfather and grandmother, and I remember very well learning the Canadian national anthem.
Why did you choose to share this specific story?
Because well, Canada Day, Canada anthem, and I love my grandparents.
Okay.
May they rest in
Can
peace.
you share? Yeah. Finally, can you share a memory about me?
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is a memory that sticks in your head about me?
You and me were shooting the 8-shot bio together, and had like never talked to you before, and it was really fun getting to know you, and I just remember laughing to myself because you were like, I'm sleeping over. And I was like, okay.
I was scared about taking the TTC at night. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay. But it was really nice of you to let a stranger stay with you.
I
in
was a
your
little bit worried. I
house.
was like, what if she's crazy?
Okay. Thank you, Zoe. I had a
Thank you,
great time talking
Taiba.
to you. Yeah. Have a great day.
You too. I hope you get a good grade.
Yep.
Thanks.
Get
Bye.
100. Thank you. Bye.